So I'm going to read now from a forthcoming book that should be out in spring of 2018 called Lake Michigan, which, like Valdivia, I suppose, is centered around a place, in particular a beach in Chicago on the north side at the border of the northern border of the city. And there's a kind of imagined prison site that has been created on the lake, which much of which came out, the sort of idea of the prison site came out of some reporting that happened in Chicago about 2015 about the prison in Homan Square, which is a neighborhood in Chicago where it was where there is a, quote, black site, which refers to a prison, an unmarked prison. Essentially, it was a prison where prisoners were taken and not logged, so that nobody knew they were there. They often spent 2 or 3 days there. Many reported to be tortured. There was a prisoner who died there. So this prison is sort of led to some of the writing that became Lake Michigan. Begins with a quote from Aimé Césaire's Discourse on Colonialism, translated by Joan Pinkham. This is Césaire. And then one fine day, the bourgeoisie is awakened by a terrific boomerang effect. The Gestapos are busy, the prisons fill up, the torturers standing around the racks invent, refine, discuss. People are surprised, they become indignant. They say, how strange, but never mind, it's Nazism, it will pass. And they wait, and they hope, and they hide the truth from themselves, that it's barbarism, the supreme barbarism, the crowning barbarism that sums up all the daily barbarisms, that it is Nazism, yes, but that before they were its victims, they were its accomplices, that they tolerated that Nazism before it was inflicted on them, that they absolved it, shut their eyes to it, legitimized it because until then it had been applied only to non-European peoples, that they have cultivated that Nazism, that they are responsible for it, and that before engulfing the whole edifice of Western Christian civilization in its reddened waters, it oozes, seeps, and trickles from every crack. Lake Michigan, Scene 2. They put paint on my eyes. They put mud on my eyes. They put sludge on my eyes. They asked me to look in a mirror. They said, this is your face. They said, you have been dead for 3 days. They said, you have been missing for 3 days. They asked me what I did with my mind. They asked me what I did with my papers. They asked me when I last saw my parents. They asked me what I did with my bank card. They asked me what I did with my hands. I told them my hands were broken. I told them I didn't remember my bank card. I told them about an investigator who came to my office. He worked for the city and his title was Investigator Number 41. He asked me what I did on the internet. He measured my arms. He measured my legs. He asked me who I spoke to on my cell phone. He asked me who I sent messages to. He asked me if my documents had been filed according to regulation and policy. He looked at my mouth with a flashlight. He tested my reflexes. He asked me to stand still, perfectly still, and to keep my balance. I could not keep my balance, and he told me he expected me to do better. He asked me why I couldn't keep my balance. He hit me when I tried to keep my balance. He spat on me when I fell to the floor. He kicked me when I fell to the floor. He asked me to stand up to try to keep my balance. He punched me in the stomach, and I fell to the floor, and the other workers in the office heard me scream, but they could not help me, and they were also beaten. He told me I helped an illegal human being and that this made me illegal. He told me I helped an illegal human being find food, and as a result, I would not be able to eat. He told me I helped an illegal human being drink water, and as a result, I would not be able to drink water. We got into a van, and he took me to the prison on the shores of Lake Michigan, and we went into an office, and he asked me to sign some papers. I signed nothing, and they beat me and locked me in a closet. He took my shirt and pants and locked the door. I sat on the cold ground. I fell asleep. Maybe I died. I woke up and there was a pipe lying next to me. I woke up and there was blood coming out of my mouth. I woke up and I was dead and there was a mountain in the middle of the beach and they took me there. I woke up and I was dead and they left me at the foot of the mountains. I saw a picture of the city in a mirror. I saw giant birds committing suicide. I saw species of children struck with a terrible plague. They couldn't walk or talk. They crawled and moaned. I asked for money and they gave me a map. I asked for water and they gave me coins. I asked for my family and they showed me a picture of the mayor. I asked for an attorney and they beat me. I crawled up the mountain and it started to burn. I walked into the flames and I woke up and someone played notes from a ram's horn. I walked out of the flames and I fell asleep and I heard my mother's voice. They poured gasoline on me and I recited numbers in my head. I tasted salt. I tasted gasoline. I heard the children of Chicago crying and they were buried into the mountain. I heard the mayor say our city was a place of sanctuary. I heard the mayor say our city was a shelter for refugees. I saw the police shoot a boy 22 times and I heard the mayor make a promise. Your body will return, he said. Your body will be a dream that spreads slowly across the beach. Your body will be a playground and the children will crawl all over you. I felt my hands burn, I felt my neck burn, I felt my fingers burn, I felt my lips burn, I felt my lungs burn, I felt my elbows burn, I felt my nose burn, my hair was burning, and I asked if I could see my sister. They asked me what she looked like, and I described her perfectly, and they said nothing. I heard them drill into the mountain, and it felt like they were drilling into my body. They drilled a hole in the mountain, and the children crawled into it and sang a song to the city about how much they loved it. And the song grew softer as the children sang it forever. And it is only war, said a body in uniform. It is only the beginning of war. Lake Michigan, scene 6. The golden sand of Lake Michigan was here. The chromium spilled from the U.S. steel plant in Portage, Indiana was here. The raw sewage was here. The animal waste was here. The waters that in the sunlight reminded Simone de Beauvoir of silk and flashing diamonds were here. The seagulls were here. The liquid manure was here. The birds colonized by E. coli were here. The police removing the homeless bodies on the beach were here. The police removing the illegal immigrants on the beach were here. The police beating the mad bodies on the beach were here. The public hospitals were not here, and the police had nowhere to take the sick ones to, so they kicked them in the face, handcuffed them, and brought them to jail. A woman screamed, and the External Police Review Board heard nothing. No one heard the woman screaming, and no one saw the children vomiting. No vomiting children, wrote the External Review Board. No dead or decaying animals. The members of the External Police Review Board belonged to the Democratic Party, and they loved to play with their children on the beach. They belong to the ACLU and they love to play with their pets on the beach. They volunteer at their kids' schools and they don't believe in the bones of the disappeared. The pigs colonized by E. coli were here. The cattle colonized by E. coli were here. The humans colonized by E. coli were here. The police were here and they murdered 2 boys on the beach. And the External Police Review Board saw nothing. Lake Michigan, scene 10. The police shooting boys are like police shooting boys, and the Nazis burning Jews are like Nazis burning Jews, and the police protecting Nazis are like police protecting Nazis. And the prisoners who are tortured are like prisoners who are tortured, and the psychologists overseeing torture are like psychologists overseeing torture. And the mayor privatizing prisons is like the mayor privatizing prisons. And the rule of law being suspended is like the rule of law being suspended. And the broken prisoners on the beach are like broken prisoners on the beach. I dream I am pregnant and my baby is a revolutionary plan to destroy the global economy. And my baby is like a baby with a bullet in its mouth. It was like a baby with a bullet in its mouth. It was like a baby with a bullet in its mouth. And the disappearing public employees are like disappearing public employees. And the puddle of vomit from a tortured prisoner is like a puddle of vomit from a tortured prisoner. And the hunger of an actual child is the hunger of an actual child. And the basic function of the economy is the basic function of the economy. And the politically impossible is the politically inevitable. And the bourgeois savages are like bourgeois savages. And the bourgeois savages who do not see themselves as savages are like bourgeois savages who do not see themselves as savages. And the bodies that are expropriated for private purposes are like bodies expropriated for private purposes. When they disappear into the pinhole of capital, they disappear into the abyss of capital. And when they disappear into the abyss of capital, there is that silence when everyone refuses to act because they are too concerned with their own material health to care about the broken body of another. And the wasted food on the beach is like wasted food on the beach. And the starving children who are not allowed to eat the wasted food on the beach are like starving children who are not allowed to eat wasted food on the beach. And the bourgeois savages do not notice the broken bodies until they are beaten in their bourgeois backyards. And they say, "How dare you use my backyard to beat this broken body? I will look away if only you don't beat them in my backyard." And they say, "One broken body in my backyard doesn't count for anything." And they are like people who think that one broken body doesn't count for anything. And a massacre at a black church is a massacre at a black church. And a massacre at an elementary school is a massacre at an elementary school. And the Nazis with torches are like Nazis with torches. And the police who kill are like police who kill. And the dying sand is like dying sand. And the refugee arrested for speaking the wrong language is a prisoner who never learns to speak the right language. And the bomb is like a bomb, and the anesthetic is like anesthetic. And the blankness of the city is like the blankness of the city. And the language of the riot is the language of the riot. And the blood of the silenced is like the blood of the silenced. And the blindness of the bourgeois savage is like a mouth that can't stop biting a body that refuses to die. And I'll read the final piece from Lake Michigan. Lake Michigan, scene 18. The beaches are filled with cages, and the cages are filled with bodies, and the bodies are filled with burdens, and the burdens consume the bodies, and the bodies do not know to whom they owe their life. I drop my body on the sand, and someone tells me to pick it up. I drop to the sand to pick up my body, and someone tells me to steal more hair, to steal more flesh, to steal more bones, to steal more fingers. I tell them I cannot risk contaminating the data. I tell them that if I steal more hair, then the data will not be clean. I tell them I cannot touch my own body out of fear of contaminating the data. I have a virus, I say. I'm contagious, I say. No salt in my body, no heat in my blood. The sand is dying slowly, turns into a wall, and in the wall there is a nook, and in the nook there is light, and in the light there is God, and in God there is nothing. In nothing there is hope, and in hope there is abandonment, and in abandonment there is wound, and in wound there is nation, and in nation there are bones, and in bones there is time, and in time there is light, and in light there are numbers, and in numbers there are codes, and in codes there are mountains, and in mountains there are bodies searching for bones, and in the mountains there are tunnels, and in the tunnels there's so much festering garbage. The men in uniform take the garbage away, but they have a hard time distinguishing the garbage from the people, so they scoop it all up and carry us into the next morning. And in the next morning, there is a confession. I have put my burdens in the wrong body. I have framed my burdens in the wrong nation. I have staked my burdens to the wrong nation. I need medicine to sleep. I need medicine to stop the shrieking in my ears. I need medicine to make the Chicago corpses turn into hydrangeas. I need medicine to make the immigrants turn into butterflies. I need an injection to make the bureaucrats turn into terrorists. It is raining again on Lake Michigan. Some say it is raining bodies, but really it's raining trash. The trash they bomb us with explodes when it lands near our bodies. And our bodies are tornadoes. And the joke turns into a mystery novel about how God keeps his hands from shaking when he is about to destroy the universe. I need my burdens, sing the bodies on the beach. I fight for my burdens, scream the bodies on the beach. I know the blankness of my burdens is a battle for love and country. I know the blankness of my burdens is a coda to the death of the city. I don't know why I can't see the moon anymore. I can't see the stars or the sky anymore. I don't even bother looking up. Thanks.